You're listening to the Everything Jewish 10 Minutes at a Time podcast, where you'll learn about every Jewish topic imaginable in about 10 minutes. And as always, I apologize for all of my Hebrew pronunciation. I know I'm going to pronounce Hebrew words wrong, so instead of getting annoyed, I give you permission to laugh at how I say things. Today's topic is the Kippah, also called the yarmulke in Yiddish. You know those little round caps Jewish men and sometimes women wear on their heads? That's what we're talking about. To outsiders, it can look like a tiny frisbee that somehow defies gravity. But the kippah is not just a fashion accessory. It's a symbol, a statement, and a reminder all wrapped into one. In Judaism, covering the head expresses humility before God, kind of like saying, hey, I know I'm not the boss of the universe. Think of it like putting your phone on airplane mode. You're acknowledging something bigger has control, not you. The kippah takes something as ordinary as your head and makes it a canvas of faith. So where does the kippah come from? The Torah doesn't command Jews to wear a kippah. That surprises a lot of people because it feels like such a core Jewish thing. Instead, it comes from later rabbinic tradition. The Talmud, that massive encyclopedic record of Jewish law and discussion, talks about rabbis covering their heads to show reverence and respect for God. Over time, this practice became more and more widespread until it basically turned into the Jewish norm. By the Middle Ages, rabbis were saying, listen, you're not obligated by the Torah to wear one, but it's strongly encouraged. Eventually, in many communities, it shifted from encouraged to expected. You know how at first people thought wearing seatbelts was optional, then it became law, and now you'd never think twice about buckling up? The kippah kind of followed that trajectory. It became the default marker of Jewish identity, signaling reverence and community. By the 20th century, the sight of a kippah practically shouted, Jewish! But not all Jews wear the kippah the same way, and some don't wear one at all. This is where Jewish diversity comes into play. Orthodox men usually wear one all the time, whether they're praying, eating, or walking the dog. Conservative Jews might wear one mainly in synagogue, while Reform Jews vary. Some wear it regularly, some not at all. For secular Jews, it might only come out at a wedding, funeral, or bar mitzvah. And then there are Jewish women. Traditionally, women didn't wear kippot, that's the plural, because head covering for women followed a different tradition: scarves, hats, or wigs after marriage. But in the modern Reform and conservative movements, many women do wear kippot as a symbol of equality in prayer and ritual. So if you walk into a synagogue today, what you see on people's heads tells you a lot about where that community falls on the spectrum of Jewish practice. Now, let's talk about style, because kippot are basically the ultimate Jewish fashion statement. They come in every size, color, and fabric you can imagine. Some are crocheted, some are suede, some are velvet, and some are even made of shiny satin that looks like it escaped from a 1980s prom. Israeli knitted kippot are super popular, especially in religious Zionist circles. Hasidic Jews often wear large black velvet kippot, which go with their traditional black suits. Some modern Jews go with small suede kippot that clip on with a bobby pin, while kids might wear kippot decorated with their favorite sports team. There are even novelty kippot, camouflage for the outdoorsy types, rainbow-colored for LGBTQ pride, or sequined for that cousin who thinks synagogue should look more like a disco. It's not just about covering your head, it's about expressing who you are. A kippah is both humble and personal, like saying, yes, I answer to God, but I also root for the Dodgers. And here's something interesting. The kind of kippah you wear can actually signal what branch of Judaism you belong to. Walk through Jerusalem and you'll notice the difference. Black velvet kippot? Probably Haredi or Hasidic. Crocheted ones, especially with Israeli flags or bright colors? Likely religious Zionist or modern Orthodox. A tiny, barely there suede circle? Often modern Orthodox or conservative. No kippah except in synagogue? Likely Reform or secular. So yes, in a way, the kippah is like Jewish branding. It's like wearing a band t-shirt. Are you Team Beatles, Team Metallica, or Team Taylor Swift? Except in this case, it's Team Satmar, Team Conservative, or Team Reform. Even the size matters. Big kippah, more traditional. Small kippah, more modern. You don't have to say a word. Your headgear does the talking for you. Hasidic Jews take it one step further. Many wear a kippah underneath a larger hat, usually black and wide-brimmed. This isn't about fashion, though it does look pretty striking. It's about layers of reverence. The kippah is a base layer. The hat adds another reminder of God above. You could think of it like a double password for your soul. And of course, hats have their own styles and signals. Different Hasidic groups have their own preferred hat shapes, almost like uniforms. A Lubavitcher might wear one style, a Satmar another. The kippah itself is often hidden under that hat, but it's always there. The message is, no matter what else you wear, the kippah remains constant. That tiny circle of cloth is the foundation, with everything else layered on top. Outside of religious spaces, the kippah can be complicated. Some Jews feel proud to wear it in public as an open declaration of Jewish identity. Others worry about anti-Semitism or prefer to blend in. For many American Jews, the kippah is a synagogue-only accessory, like dress shoes you dust off for special occasions. But in Israel, it's much more common to see men wearing kippot everywhere, in offices, on buses, even at soccer games. There, it's as ordinary as wearing a baseball cap in the US. Of course, the flip side is that in Israel, the type of kippah you wear can instantly slot you into a political or social category. To outsiders, it may just look like a cap. But to insiders, it says volumes. That's why some Jews joke that the kippah isn't just about religion. It's about politics too. Here's a fun trivia fact. The word yarmulke isn't even Hebrew. It's Yiddish, and it looks like it should be pronounced yarmulke, but it's not. And I'm probably not even saying yarmulke right. You can blame my AI voice. Some say it comes from the Aramaic yarei malka, meaning awe of the king, as in God. In Hebrew, the word is kippah, meaning dome or covering. Either way, the meaning is the same. Something small and simple on your head, reminding you of something huge above your head. Think about how often you forget things, like where you put your keys or what you walked into the kitchen for. The kippah is basically a spiritual post-it note. God is watching. Stay humble. That's why even Jews who don't wear it all the time might put one on for prayer, weddings, or funerals. It's a way of saying, I know this moment is sacred. Of course, like everything in Judaism, there's debate. Some rabbis have argued that since it's not technically commanded in the Torah, wearing a kippah isn't absolutely required. Others say that by now, it's become so ingrained that it's basically obligatory. There are even debates over when exactly you need one. Only during prayer? Only when eating? Or all the time? Today, the standard Orthodox position is wear it all the time. Conservative rabbis, at least during prayer. Reform, it's your choice. It all depends on which community you identify with. And that's actually very Jewish. There's a famous saying, 2 Jews, 3 opinions. The kippah is a perfect example of that principle in action. So what does this all add up to? The kippah is one of the most recognizable Jewish symbols in the world, but it's also one of the most personal. It's about humility before God, identity within the community, and expression of individuality. It can be velvet, suede, crocheted, or bedazzled. It can be worn every waking moment or just at holidays. It can mark you as Hasidic, modern Orthodox, Reform, or secular. And whether you call it a kippah or a yarmulke, it's a little circle that carries a lot of meaning. Next time you see one, you'll know. It's not just a piece of fabric. It's a conversation starter about faith, tradition, and belonging. And who knows, if you try one on, you might just feel a little more grounded, a little more connected, and a little more aware of what's above you.